Hi, for today's video I'm going to be giving you the basics of Google Forms. You're going to start by going into your Google Drive. Once you're in your Google Drive, you are going to go up to the blue button that says New and click on it. From there I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to More and click on Google Forms. When I do this, it's going to automatically open up a blank form for me. My first step when I do Google Forms is always to title it. That way it's easy to find in my Google Drive. So for this one, I'm just going to type in survey. So we're showing how to create surveys on Google Forms. Once I type it here, if I go to the top and click here as well, it will capture that same title for me. Now there's also a spot where you can do a form description. So if I wanted to write a little bit about what the survey is going to be capturing, so maybe I'll say something like, how did you prepare for today's assessment? So my survey is going to be about how you prepared for an assessment. My first question and your first question on every form should always be what your person's name is. So whoever is taking this form, you want to be able to know who they are. That way you can really analyze the data the way you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and do first name. Now you can see that when I typed in first name, Google Forms automatically shifted from a multiple choice question to a short answer question. So in a lot of ways, Google Forms will kind of adapt to your needs. But in case it didn't do that, all you need to do is click on the side, and you'll notice that there are tons of different ways that I can have people respond to the questions that I post. So short answer is going to be the most appropriate one here. Obviously, I want them to be able to type their name as a response. After that, you're going to click the required button down below. You'll see that it's going to change colors, and now it's a purple color instead of that gray color you saw before. I want it to be required because I do not want them to submit this form without answering this question. After this, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this question because I just have first name first, and then I want a question for last name as well. You'll notice that when I duplicate a question, all of my settings are exactly the same. So it's required already, it's short answer already. I recommend that if you're going to have a survey or a form where you know that you're going to have people respond in the same way, so whether it be multiple choice or short answer, it's really nice to just duplicate your questions rather than one by one going through and having to adjust this required button. In my experience, that's what I found. Now that I have a spot for them to type in their name, it's time to kind of get started on our survey questions. What you're going to do is you're going to press this plus sign on the side. This is going to allow me to add questions to my survey. You also have a spot for a title or a description. I use this a lot when I'm doing Google Forms and I'm trying to change directions for my students. So for example, I'll say answer these multiple choice questions, filling in the correct word for each definition. And then maybe I'll have a different section where I want them to actually respond to a short answer response, and then I'd give them different directions. There's also spots to add images. There's also spots to add videos, and then there's also places to add sections. So with the sections here, that's going to be kind of what I was talking about with the multiple choice and trying to switch it up between that and a short answer response. Now, for the sake of this survey and just keeping it basic, I'm just going to add a couple questions. So my first question is going to be, how confident do you feel about how you did on today's assessment? And for this one, I think what I'm going to do is I'll keep it as a linear scale. So I'm going to adjust my wording here on a scale of 1 to 5. There we go. You can see it's already there for me. I'm just going to go ahead and give some extra information about what 1 represents and what 5 represents. So 1 would be, I did not confident about today's assessment. And number 5 will be, I felt very confident. going to mark this as required. And then I'm going to go ahead and press the plus sign one more time. My next question, maybe I'll ask how they prepared. How did you prepare for today's assessment? I'm going to keep this as a multiple choice just so you can see a few differences. So I could say, got to study for today's assessment. I'm going to go ahead, and then you can press the enter button if you want to add more, or you could add more options below here. I just kind of do the enter button, it's just pretty natural. So after this, I forgot to study for today's assessment. I use flashcards perhaps, and etc. So you can kind of get the feel for how the multiple choice ones run. I'm going to hit required again. That way they have to take it. Now, once you feel as though you have finished your form and you like the way it looks, you can see what it looks like on the student's end by clicking this eyeball. This is the preview. So this is what it would look like for when they're taking it. A good rule of thumb is to always kind of just take a peek after you've completed making a survey or a form, just so you know exactly what it's going to look like to those that you send it out to. You don't want to leave things like this option 3. You want to make sure that there's responses for every question the way that you want it to look. Now if you go back and click this pencil, you'll be able to edit it one more time. Okay. The other thing you might want to do as well is if you click this little gear at the top, this is your settings. You may want to collect email addresses from your respondents. If you do, you're just going to go ahead and click this box and it will automatically collect their email address. You may want to limit people from only taking the survey or form one time. If so, you'd click this box. And it depends for this one if you're in a school district like we are. If you want it only to go to Amherst Exempt Village or someone within your district, you want to click this box. However, if you're sending this out to parents, you would want to unclick that box. That way parents who are not a part of the district would be able to answer the survey. Okay? That's pretty much the gist of creating a survey. I'm going to go ahead and click save. If you want to dress it up and make it a little fancier, you could go here and just select a color. Or there are images that you can do as well. So maybe for this one I'll do, let me get a little pumpkin-y. Okay. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. And this is your video over surveys. Thanks.